Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lechsad, Elot tesheyar v'sei, Amelenu chot na'aleli. Nafshi yoshev, Nafshi yoshev, Yakeini v'mayei tzedek, K'var leman shemo shemo.
Gam ki elech bebeit Almamet, lo yirah imani, shivtecha u'mishantecha, shivtecha u'mishantecha, imay lamoni.
Taroch lefanai, lefanai shulchan. Taroch lefanai shulchan, ve'el tzorelai. Yishanta v'Hashem enoshi. Yishanta Hashem enoshi, kosirehaya.
Ach tov v'chesed, yirgefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, leorech yamim.
On Rosh Hashanah, we recited a prayer that is so timely. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, remember your compassion and overcome your anger as we face and he faced pestilence, sword, famine, captivity and destruction, iniquity and plague, and any mishap and all illness, any harm or feud, and all kinds of afflictions, and all harsh decrees and baseless hatred. How timely a prayer. Yes, when we face the plague, a divided humanity, hatred, renewed anti-Semitism spreading like a virus. How appropriate this prayer. But it shows you that what we are encountering today, others have it even worse in the past. Avinu Malkeinu zchor rachmecha, uchvoshkascho v'chalidebe v'chere v'rov, u'shvi u'mashchis v'yom ma'gefa u'faga ra, v'chol machla v'chol kolad v'chol k'toto v'chol mine porinios, v'chol gezeros ra, v'sinas chinam, me'olenu u'me'al kol b'nei b'risecha. Yes, we can reaffirm this prayer. Very timely. It really covers what our world is all about. Yizkor during the pandemic is very different. You know, at Park East Synagogue, not only do we have the Yizkor service for our congregation, but we invite the entire community, a special Yizkor service, to remember our loved ones. But at this time, not only do we remember our own losses, we remember the over 1 million human beings, victims of this plague. And just as we remembered recently the close to 3,000 human beings whose life was snuffed out after the attack on the World Trade Center 9/11. And we think of the families, survivors, whose lives have been shattered and broken, but they emerged. When we are born, we begin life. But then there are times in life when we must learn to begin again. And that's my personal story. Yes, I was born in Vienna, 1930. But I almost lost my life during the Holocaust. I was reborn when I was liberated, with 80,000 Jews still in the ghetto of Budapest by the Red Army. Yes, that was my second birthday. So what does life teach us? We have the capacity to re-emerge, and we will re-emerge. Talk to any Holocaust survivor, or talk to any war veteran during World War II, or the Yom Kippur War. I still remember on Yom Kippur when Israel was attacked on the holiest day of the year. Israeli diplomats, no longer in the sanctuary, but crying, their wives, their children, worried about the survival of Israel. And look, thank God today, Israel, the role model of strength, innovation. So Yizkor, yes, it opens up the wound. The scars, when we lose someone, remain. But Judaism teaches us, l'chaim v'lo lamovet, focus on life and not on death. Well, that's the secret of our survival. Again, you are gathered here not only to remember your parents, your grandparents, your loved ones as human beings. You remember them, and you're here because you want to perpetuate their legacy. You're here because you are proud Jews. You're here because of your Jewish heritage. And it's very personal for me when I look at this curtain dedicated to my father, whom I lost when I was 6 years old, to my mother, who used to sit in the fourth row, rooting for her son, and my grandparents who perished at Auschwitz. Yes, remember we must. Now the question is, knowing that our time on earth is limited, have you ever thought, how are you going to be remembered? How? What will be your legacy? Will you be remembered? Or will you be just forgotten and obliterated? Let me give you a role model for legacy building. Chief Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg made history. Second woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, first Jewish woman who was always proud of her heritage. Unlike others who tried to assimilate and thought they would get ahead in life, she didn't change her name Ginsburg to Smith or Johnson. Yes, she was proud of her names. She was proud of her heritage. And she made a point to represent the Jewish people with honor and dignity. You know that the Supreme Court is supposed to open on October 6th, on Monday. In October 2003, Yom Kippur fell on the 6th of that month, which was a Monday. So she turned to the Chief Justice and said, let us delay the opening in deference not only to Justice Breyer and me, but some of the Jewish lawyers who are proud, for the first time, some of them, to represent their clients. Why should they be discriminated against? And because of her intervention, yes, the Supreme Court will never open on Yom Kippur. I had my personal experience. When President Reagan appointed me as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, opening of General Assembly, President Reagan coming to New York, the entire U.S. delegation had to be there. When the president spoke, I wrote him a letter about the conflict. He wrote me back, Rabbi, your place is at your synagogue. Just pray for me. And speaking about Park East Synagogue, what can be done, what can be achieved, right here, my friends, leaders of the Catholic, Protestant, Greek Orthodox, Muslim faith communities, joining Ambassador Ramprasor of Israel with two other ambassadors of the United Nations, Norway and England, advocating Yom Kippur as the official holiday. And they said, look, Christmas is an official holiday. The Muslims have two holidays. Why shouldn't Judaism also have an official holiday? And our beloved President Herman Hochberg was there with me. We lobbied and we succeeded. And after International Holocaust Remembrance Day was adopted in 2008 by the United Nations, every year since then, on the Shabbat before January 27th, liberation of Auschwitz, this synagogue is full with diplomatic corps, the Secretary General, and Holocaust survivors, second and third generation. Never forget to remember the Shoah. We remember the founding rabbi, Rabbi Bernard Rachman, and all the rabbis who served with distinction, past presidents of the synagogue, sisterhood, and men's club, trustees who are no longer with us, who helped build this Mokum Kadosh, this holy place, the men and women whose names are remembered, now stained glass windows, memorial plaques, and in the Book of Remembrance. Also, in your Book of Remembrance, a special page dedicated to the great losses we sustained during this year. All the men and women who are now in heaven praying for all of us who are no longer in the pew. And Chief Cantor Helfgott will also include in that prayer the memory of the victims of the pandemic plague, praying that the Almighty Healer lift that burden, a burden of suffering of mankind.
El Moleh Rachamim Shochein Bamerohemi Hamtzei Meluchonechoino Ale Kanefei Ashechino Bemalois Kedoshim Utehoirim Kezoar Arakia Mazirim Lenishemois Kol Chavrei Keilat Zichron Ephraim V'Rabanim Sholechu Le'olam Ulenishmat Kol Nifgei Magefat HaKorona Sholechu Le'olam Bavur שכל המתפללים כאן נודבים צדקו לעילוי נשמותיהם בגן עדן תהיה מנוחתם לוחם בעלו רחמים יסתירם בססר כנופיו לעולמים ויצרור ביצרוי רחיים אסני שמויסהם אדוינום ונחלוסם וינוחו בשלום על משכבם ונאמר
now we have a changing of the guard. We're going to have Harry Liss, Vice President, second generation Holocaust survivor, and Harry Krakowski, again, son of Holocaust survivors. His father, Izzy Krakowski, a trustee, builder of Jewish life, like Harry, your parents in Germany. And then we also have the privilege, although it's a dwindling number, Jack Pomerantz, a Holocaust survivor, Jack Oltuski, God bless him, 102, who went through the war fighting in the woods. And God has rewarded him. Still with us, an inspiration. Communal will be recited for the victims of the Shoah. Also, the men and women of the United States Armed Forces who made sure that we live in freedom and have the privilege of freedom. And the men and women of the Tzahal, the Israeli Defense Forces, who gave their lives, young men and women, to preserve Medinat Yisrael. Adonai oz lamo yitain. Adonai yavarech et amo b'shalom. Yes, with strength, there will be peace.
עמם. כולם מקדושים וטהורים, ובוהם גאונים וצדיקים, ארזי הלבונם, ודירי ויתוירו. כל הכל מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם בגן
So we can make a difference. Each one of us can make a difference. Park East Synagogue has made a difference in so many ways. Only synagogue in the United States that had a visit by a papal visit, an ecumenical patriarch's visit, the Russian patriarch's visit, chief rabbis, presidents and prime ministers of Israel. That's our standard. We are proud to contribute to Jewish legacy. And above all, we are proud of transmitting our heritage to our children, even in those difficult times. So, I appeal to you all, make a difference. Help us make a difference. The best thing you can do for a good verdict to be inscribed in the book of life. You couldn't go to Brooklyn for kaporos, but instead you can give tzedakah, share, and above all, gratitude. Gratitude for every day that God has given you, and you want to be a role model for your children and your grandchildren, and help us do that. So please, follow those who already made their commitment during Rosh Hashanah, not cash, just a pledge. But we are not worried. Your pledges are very good. Make your commitment, and I pray that Hashem will reward your gratitude, your giving and sharing, the blessings that God has given you with the community, the Park East Synagogue that has served the Jewish community of New York, the Jewish people, Israel, and humanity for all these years. God bless you all.